The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke, Kevin Price, and Robbie Ross. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Time again for the Ross Report on 912 Sports. Robbie Ross here with you, enjoying this wonderful, finally fall weather on the back porch. Feels great outside. In the 60s, in the middle of the day. Anyway, Hurricane Ian threw a wrench into the high school football schedule last week. Games on Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday even, when they could have just left it alone and played on Friday, which would have been, ironically, the best weather for any of the high school football weeks so far. But have to be safe in terms of when these hurricanes bear down, so we get it. Anyway, looking at the scores, game of the week, last night, I'm recording this on Tuesday, last night, Monday night, Appling an upset over Pierce, 28-17 to take control of that region. East Lawrence over Bacon, 29-28 in a close one. Brantley wins 30-15 over Toombs County in a great game for Coach Jeff Cannon. Brunswick all over Grovetown. That happened Wednesday up in the Augusta area, 56-39. Brunswick gave up a little more points than probably anybody expected. Effingham wins over Glen Academy. That happened Wednesday afternoon at Glen County Stadium, 31-14. It was Tatnall Square over Frederica under the Oaks on Wednesday afternoon, 42-18. Berrien over Jeff Davis, 42-24. Liberty County over Groves, 34-0. Savannah Christian over Long County, 54-20. And McIntosh County Academy over Atkinson County, 20-8. So that is an abbreviated schedule. Some games postponed, moved to later on in the season. We'll talk about those as those arise. But hopefully no more weather delays, no more weather issues the rest of the football season as we wind down and are headed down that stretch run towards the playoffs. This has been the Ross Report on 912 Sports.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robinson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
It was Monday Night Football, Southeast Georgia style here in the 912 as Hurricane Ian moved the Battle Royale between the two AA heavyweights, Pierce and Appleton, to Monday night. It was a packed house at Jimmy Swain Stadium to witness the game that's traditionally played as the last game of the regular season, but not in 2022. This was Pierce's second region game and the region opener for Appleton County. It was a tight game early on, but turned into be a decisive victory for the Appleton County Pirates, winning the game 28-17. As you'll see here in this clip, though, it could have easily been 42-17 after plays like this by a dropped pass wide open in the end zone, and also Appleton had a 58-yard touchdown pass called back for holding. But the Coastal Pines Technical College Player of the Week was sophomore quarterback Dason Griffiths for his performance as quarterback, throwing touchdown darts like the one you see here. Dason had 184 yards passing with 3 touchdowns and 74 yards rushing for another touchdown. But not only was he fantastic as a signal caller, but he also was the Pirates punter, and he might have been MVP for his punting abilities. He averaged 44 yards a kick. He had a long of 57 yards, and oh, by the way, he kicked 2 that downed the Bears deep in their territory inside their own 5-yard line. But the defense for the Pirates were stout all night as well. The vaunted defensive front played without number 5, Darion Smith, who's one of the star athletes there on that football team, but still was able to stop the Pierce rushing attack all night long, as you can see here in some of these clips. But after the 28-17 victory over Pierce, Appleton has a leg up on the region. But there's still a lot of football to be played. Pierce is open this week, but Appleton has to go on the road to play against Toombs County in the Pit over in Lyons, Georgia. It'll be Coach Mullis's job to keep his guys grounded and not let the big victory over Pierce affect this game here in Toombs on Friday night. But that's a wrap from Jimmy Swain Stadium. Appleton County wins it 28-17. I'm Sean Smoke reporting for 912 Sports.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kevin Price for On Air with 912 Sports. This past Wednesday night, I was out at Glenn County Stadium for a key Region 2 6A ball game between hometown Glenn Academy and Effingham. The midweek game did not go the way of the Red Terrors. It went to the Rebels, who won the ball game between the bricks of the stadium 31-14. Effingham improves to 4-2 overall, 2-0 in region play. Glenn drops to 2-4, and now unfortunately 0-2 in the region with back-to-back losses to Brunswick High School and Effingham on Wednesday night. Of course, Glenn Academy also has now lost 4 in a row after the 2-0 start. But The thing for the Red Terrors, again, 3 turnovers on offense and also a bunch of missed tackles on defense, which led to some bigger gains than should have been for the Rebels, who took advantage of Glenn's tackling woes and racked up some big yardage on offense. The Rebels finished with 441 yards of total offense. Now, their junior quarterback, Nate Hayes, looks like the real deal, a legit dual-threat quarterback. Could very well be under consideration for Offensive Player of the Year in the region, or maybe even Player of the Year in Region 2 6A after we see how everything shakes out. But he had a big night both running and throwing the football through the air. He was 12 of 20 for 225 yards and a touchdown. On the ground, he carried 8 times for 99 yards and another touchdown. Glenn finished with 257 total yards. Their leading rusher, Greg Peacock, the sophomore tailback or running back, with 95 yards on 8 carries. He was over 100 yards at one time, but a couple of lost yardage plays late in the ball game cost him to not be able to go over the century mark. But Glen Academy opened up with a 7-0 lead, marching the football into the end zone on their opening drive, right at 70 yards on that drive. But Effingham comes right back, just one play into their first offensive possession, a pass down the Glen sideline from Hayes to Keon Wallace, their big receiver, who was a major college prospect, good for 80 yards. Effingham went on to open up a 21-7 lead at halftime. Glen Academy pulled within 21-14 early in the second half on a 7-yard pass deep into the end zone to David Prince, who made a nice catch over the Effingham secondary to haul that catch in, make it 21-14 with the PAT by Cody Arnold. But Effingham tacks on another field goal before the end of the third quarter and also added a fourth quarter touchdown to win this game, going away 31-17. Their last touchdown came after Glen Academy's third turnover, their third interception of the ball game at Glen Academy's 36-yard line. They went in from there and got some good distance between them and the Red Terrors and finished this thing out. Now, when you're looking at the rest of the season for Effingham, does look like the Rebels are the possibly biggest challenger to Brunswick in Region 2 6A. Those teams could be headed for another season-ending showdown between the bricks of Glen County Stadium for the region championship and the top seed if both of the teams were to hold serve. Brunswick also 2-0 in the region, as is Effingham at the moment. So those teams will actually meet in the season finale, like I say, at Glen County Stadium. Region championship and top seed for the state playoffs could very well be on the line there. Now, for Glen Academy, obviously they need to get some wins to make the playoffs. They have never missed the playoffs under Coach Rocky Hidalgo, who has been the head coach of the Red Terrors since 2014. So that streak very much in jeopardy right now, because Glen, even though the schedule may lighten up a little bit, if you look at the schedule and say, hey, they played the best 2 teams already, at least on paper, between Brunswick and Effingham. They have South Effingham this week. Then, of course, they also have games remaining against Lakeside Evans, and Grovetown. Of course, Grovetown lost to Brunswick Friday night. Evans, a mild upset loser to Lakeside Evans, which will come between the bricks this Friday night to take on Brunswick. So nothing to given for the Red Terrors. Probably won't finish first or second. Could finish third or fourth, but they've got to win ball games before they can even think about the playoffs. And that job will start this Friday night with a road game up in South Effingham. I'll be back next week to talk about the region matchup out at Glen County Stadium this week between Brunswick and Lakeside Evans. For On Air with 912 Sports, I'm Kevin Price.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, and with Hurricane Ian coming through last week, it moved some games around, and I had the privilege on Wednesday night to travel over to Caney Bay to check out the Brantley County Herons hosting the Toombs County Bulldogs. It was a really competitive game. As a matter of fact, Toombs County came into this game a 2-point favorite, but Brantley County comes away big winners on the night, 30-15. But let's get right into it. If you're going to lose a high school football game, a good recipe is turnovers, and that's exactly what the Toombs County Bulldogs. As you'll see in this clip right here, the Toombs County Bulldogs fumbled the ball 3 times in the first quarter alone. The Brantley County Herons come away on the night with +5 on the turnover margin. They got 3 fumbles, one which went back for a 65-yard touchdown, and also 2 INTs for good measure added to that turnover margin. But listen, the Brantley County Herons take nothing away from them. They played an excellent ball game, played great defense, played timely offense, and really had a stellar night to get that victory. One of the things that the Herons were able to do is they converted a botch punt into a first down that kept a drive alive in the first half, and as a matter of fact, it allowed them to take a halftime lead 10-7 into the locker room. The game for me really turned in the third quarter. Toombs County took the opening drive, drove down the field for 79 yards to the Herons' 1-yard line, but could not punch it in. The Herons defense stood tall, held them out on 4 plays, and as a matter of fact, on a 4th down play, intercepted the ball in the end zone to turn the ball back over to their offense. So the Herons get the ball there at their own 20-yard lines, and on the very next play, coaches make a great play call. They call a double pass from Cannon to Walker to Middleton that goes 80 yards to the house that puts the Herons up by 17-7, when in reality they were only a yard away from being down 14-10. So great turn of events right there, and the Herons just played tough from that point on. They took the offense, like I said, they played great within themselves, didn't try to get too far ahead of their skis, and their defense played solid all night long. But your final score on the night was the Herons 30 and the Bulldogs 15. That moves Brantley County to 4-2 on the season, 1-1 in region, while Toombs has the exact same record, 4-2 on the season, 1-1 in region. Brantley will travel over to Windsor Forest this week to try to get another region win, and Toombs has the tough task of taking on Applin at home, where they'll try to get another one in the win column. But all in all, a great high school football game down at Caney Bay this past Wednesday night, as the Herons come away winners 30-15 over the Toombs County Bulldogs. And we'll be right back here with more On Air with 912 Sports right after these messages.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined as always by head writer and podcast host Kevin Price. Kevin, how you doing today?
Good, Sean. Glad to see you again. Glad to be talking high school football, and hopefully we're going to play games on Friday night this week instead of all over the place. So we'll just see.
Exactly. We had games stretched over about a 4-day period last week. And so, like I said, everybody made it through the storm safely, I hope. And we're going to get back down to business and get down to a normal week of high school football here in Southeast Georgia. But let's go ahead and start off the previews for 10-7, Kevin. We're going to start off with our game of the week. That's Camden County Wildcats are going to travel to Richmond Hill to take on the other Wildcats. So we got a battle of Wildcats going on here Friday night. The significance of this game, Kevin, is Richmond Hill has changed into that Region 1-7A. That's the region that they're in, so they're going to have to battle the likes of Valdosta and Colquitt and Lowndes and Camden. So this is going to open the region play for these guys. Camden coming off a hot streak, won I think 4 or 5 games in a row here. Richmond Hill coming off of a couple of tough losses. So we'll see who can get the better of it. But this game is played in Richmond Hill. But like I said, we'll see what Camden can do in breaking in Richmond Hill to this new region.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously new territory for Richmond Hill, moving up in classification. Camden's been in this region before, obviously, and but these are the two Southeast Georgia schools in that region, along with Valdosta, Lowndes, and Colquitt. Now, when you look at this, it's interesting that both of these teams are playing each other right out of the gate. First game in region play for everybody. I think everybody had the week off last week, and from that standpoint, it's even. I don't know if how the hurricane or whatever might have hurt these teams in terms of preparation. I'm sure they were going to take some time off anyway last week, probably Friday, and obviously they may have been getting Thursday off as well. But when you look at this game, Sean, it's not necessarily a must win for both teams because there's still 3 region games to go. But this sure would help a lot for both teams to win this one because the other 3, both of these teams very well could be underdogs in all of those games. Colquitt looking good, ranked very high in 7A. Valdosta's up there undefeated. Lowndes may not be as good as usual, but they're still Lowndes. So the winner of this game very well could have at least the inside track to number 4, and then if they could pull off a win, move up in the echelon of the region. And I think Camden for sure may just do that. I'm not so sure about Richmond Hill, so that might make this game all the more important for them. But when you look at this game, Camden 4-2 after 2 straight losses to open the season. Richmond Hill 3-3. This Camden defense is tough, Sean. I think their defensive front is really good. Their linebackers are good as well. I do think Richmond Hill's improved on both sides of the ball from the preseason until now. But I think this game might be decided in the trenches, and particularly the matchup I want to see is that Camden defensive front against that Richmond Hill offensive front. And I believe Camden might just be a little better up front, and I think that gives them an edge even though they're going on the road.
Yeah, Richmond Hill's got some weapons. Got a big running back in Gilliard, and then got a really good receiver in Rayvon Grant. So got some weapons on the Richmond Hill side, but we'll see how they do going up against that tough Camden defense. But let's move on. We've got Appleton going to travel to Toombs. Johnson County going to travel to Bacon. Bacon coming off another heartbreaking 1-point loss this Saturday. Coffey's going to travel to Bradwell to open their region play there in 5A. Brantley going to go play Windsor Forest, coming off a big win over Toombs. We'll see if they can stay on that winning track and get another region win. Lakeside Evans going to travel over to Brunswick in a game that you're going to be calling there between the bricks Friday night. Turner going to travel down to Charlton. Charlton got to try to get one back on the winning side. Had a game with Dublin, just basically canceled. Not going to play that game at any time or date. So they're going to lose. They're going to sit here looking at a 9-game season. Grovedown's going to go play Effingham. That's going to be an interesting matchup. And then another game that we're going to feature here is Robert Toombs Christian Academy is going to play the Frederica Knights. And what we've got is 2 GIAA schools that we cover here in the 912. Kevin, going to be tying up there between the Oaks on Friday night. And both of these teams struggling. Both of them just got, I think, 1 win on the season. Robert Toombs may have 2. But what you're going to get here, Kevin, is a running back duel because both of these teams have excellent running backs. Jay Sean Powell from Robert Toombs and, of course, Jordan Triplett from Frederica. So you're going to see a lot of running back talent on the field Friday night over there under the Oaks.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this game more from Frederica's perspective. Obviously, they're at home. That gives them a little bit of an edge. That's a little bit of a road trip for Robert Toombs to come down here on the Georgia coast and play Frederica. But I do think Frederica's looking at this game as sort of a fresh start. They were certainly outmatched, overmanned, if you will, or outmanned, if you will, in some of the earlier ball games. I mean, look at who they played. Clinch County out of GHSA, ranked high in the public school or that division of single A. They were supposed to play Calvary Day. They're loaded. That game got canceled. But they've played, John Millage, of course, and they're the king of all kings in the GIAA, and they're rolling right along looking at another state championship squarely in the face. So Frederica maybe bit off a little bit too much for them and the team they have this year in the non-region portion of the schedule, but we'll see now if it pays off. And I think Frederica is going to kind of go back to the drawing board, get back to basics. I heard Coach Derek earlier in the week on another call-in show talking about getting physical in practice. So all the boys better be showing up ready to go this week. And I think they're really going to strap on the gear, line up, and try to play power football with Robert Toombs. Probably hand that ball to Jordan Triplett, hand it to him again, and hand it to him again, then call timeout and hand it to him 6 more times in a row. But we'll see who wins that battle of the running backs. But I think Frederica might have the slight edge here, just being at home, if nothing else.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that's going to be both of these teams' plan. They're just going to line up and say, "Hey, listen, we think our 11 is stronger than your 11, and we got a running back dude, and we're going to hand it to him 40 times, and we'll see who winds up on the winning side." But it's going to be a good one over there. Like I said, under the Oaks on Friday night. That leads us to our last game here in this first break. Kevin, Glenn's going to travel down to South Effingham. Glenn coming off a tough loss there to Effingham this past Friday night. South Effingham lost to Effingham a couple of weeks ago. South Effingham, I believe, has got one or two wins on the season. Glenn sitting there with 1 or 2 wins. Both of these programs struggling right now, and both of them really, really need a win if they got any hope of making the playoffs, Kevin.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you look at Glenn Academy, I guess all the rest of the games in the region are winnable, but at the same time, the way they've played, nothing can really be automatic. They've lost, 4 games in a row since winning the first 2 against Statesboro and McIntosh. So that's number one to kind of stop that skid. They played the best 2 teams on paper anyway in the region, Brunswick and Effingham, who appear to be headed for a showdown the last week of the regular season, just like last year, to decide the number 1 seed and the region champion. But when you look at both of these teams, South Effingham's, of course, also lost to Effingham. Like you said, their rival there in their own, neck of the woods. So both of these teams kind of looking up in the region standings. And right now, you got to feel like both are playing for third at best and certainly trying to be one of the top 4. So this is a key game in terms of that. And for Glenn, Sean, it's real simple. Quit turning the ball over and make tackles and line up, which they have not been able to do for most of the season. Coach Rocky Hidalgo is a defensive coach, and he's about to pull what little bit of hair he has left out because they ain't stopping anybody. I don't know that they could stop me and you right now, Sean, and that's not very good.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they definitely got to learn how to stop people. And like I said, and South is, basically in the same boat, been giving up a lot of points. So a real important game there in, I guess this game will be in Guyton, coming up this Friday night. But, hey, let's take a break real quick. We're going to pay some bills, and we'll come right back here for part 2 of the preview for 10-7 games here in the 912. You're watching On Air with 912 Sports.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Welcome back, sports fans. I'm Sean Spoke, joined by Kevin Price, and we're previewing the games for 10-7 here in the 912, and we're going to jump right back into it. Dodge County is going to travel over to Jeff Davis. Jeff Davis trying to get one in the W column. Going to be a tough call for him there Friday night, as Dodge is a really good football team, but we'll see how things go over there in the Pinelands. Liberty County is going to travel up to Savannah Country Day. I believe this is a region game for Liberty County, but I think this is an opportunity for those guys, the Panthers, to get a win. Savannah Country Day, Long County was able to get them a couple of weeks ago, so we'll see what Liberty can do when they travel over to the Savannah area. And speaking of Long County, Beach is going to come calling to Coach Mike Feaster and the Long County Blue Tide there in Ludwig. And Kevin, they took it on the chin this past Friday night, or past Thursday night, Wednesday night, whatever night they played that game, I can't remember. But Savannah Christian, beat them up pretty good. But Long sitting there in pretty good position now. I forget what their region record is, but they got a chance to make the playoffs for sure, and it should be a pretty straightforward win for them there Friday night against Beach.
Yeah, it should be at home, of course. That favors them, automatically anyway. But they are a better team on paper than Beach. I mean, Beach just 1-5, Long 4-2 with that 4-game winning streak they had going before they lost to Savannah Christian, which was a real tough assignment in a short week. Savannah Christian loaded once again, but Long is 2-1 on the region. Sean in the region. Beach 1-2. when you look at this game, Beach has only scored more than 17 points, I think, twice, once in a win and once in a loss in their 6 ball games. If you're looking at some comparative scores, you mentioned Savannah Country Day. Beach lost to Savannah Country Day 35-21. Long actually beat Savannah Country Day, I think, by that same score. I might have wrote down one of those scores wrong, but the bottom line is, Long beat Savannah Country Day. Beach lost. When you look at this game, I think as long as Long plays good defense, doesn't give up big plays, pounds that rock with their running game, they should win going away there in Ludowici on Friday night.
Yeah, their thing may be the same thing. Hand the ball to Amari Douglas, hand the ball to Amari Douglas, hand the ball to Amari Douglas, call timeout, and then hand it to him again 5 more times.
That's right.
But we'll see if Coach Mike featured them. If they get to 5, Kevin, that'll tie their all-time win record if they get this one Friday night. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But Jenkins County, not Jenkins of Savannah, but Jenkins County is going to go play MCA. MCA coming off a big win over Atco this past Wednesday night. So McIntosh the Buccaneers got everything rolling in the right direction. Going to be a little bit tougher, opponent with Jenkins County coming in Friday night. Southeast Bullets going to travel to New Hampstead. This is another game that got postponed. New Hampstead was supposed to play Benedictine. I think they tried to move it around a couple of different times, couldn't work it out. So now this game's got pushed down to the end of the season. So we'll see when they schedule that game. But I'm pretty sure that's a region game. But for New Hampstead and Benedictine, so they will have to make that one up. But New Hampstead hosted Southeast Bullock this Friday night. Pierce County is going to be open. Statesboro going to travel over to Greenbrier, as that's the big 5A opener for both Statesboro and Greenbrier. And then Vidalia is going to play Tattnall County. That's a big 2A matchup there in that same region with Pierce and Toombs and Applin and Brantley and all those guys. And then the Jenkins Warriors, which is the Savannah school, they're going to come calling the Swamp to take on the Ware County Gators and their region opener. And Gators got everything going in the right direction right now, Kevin. Ranked number 1 in most polls. I think they're ranked number 1 in the the combined polls that you look at on GHSA. I mean on Georgia High School Daily. Like I said, doing everything in the right way with Cartersville coming off that loss to Calhoun. They're sitting there at number 1. Jenkins struggling on the season. I think they've only got one win. So should be an easy win for the Gators, but you never know what happened Saturday in Columbia, Missouri. So you don't count your chickens before they hatch. But like I said, I think Jenkins will be outmatched when they show up at the Swamp.
Well, they should be. It looks that way on paper. Congratulations to the Gators being the new number 1 team in Class 5A. The number 1 team, like you mentioned, got beat. That opened up the door for the Gators to move into that spot. I'm sure you and Coach Strick maybe talked about that at least a little bit, maybe 20, 30 seconds anyway, on your podcast earlier this week. I'm sure he couldn't care less about that right now. But anyway, I asked Coach Grady about that as well, Sean, with Brunswick. They finally moved into the AJC rankings in the top 10, and he's not too worried about that. He's just glad to see his kids get the recognition.
Right.
And they just had to keep it in perspective, and I'm sure that's what Coach Strick and the Gators are going to do. But, yeah, Jenkins just 1-4, Ware 4-0. Jenkins has only scored 58 points, Sean, in those 5 games. They might be lucky to hit double digits against the Gators if the Gators come to play. So this is going to be a wipeout over there in the Swamp. Mark it down.
Yeah. Good. Like I said, we'll see how things shake out, but Gators should roll Friday night, and then we're going to move over to Islands at Wayne County. Wayne County was supposed to play. Their game got backed up. They were supposed to play Burke. I believe that game, Kevin, has got moved to November the 1st. Is what Coach told me, which, if I'm not mistaken, is like a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
It's a Tuesday night.
It's a Tuesday night game, which is kind of weird, but, it may be the Tuesday night before playoffs start the following Friday. So, but this is a region game. You can't just say, okay, we're not going to play this game like some of these other teams have done. You got to find a way to play it. That's why I was kind of surprised that the New Hampstead Benedictine game they didn't find a way to play that game, because at some point they are going to have to play it. But listen, Islands is struggling. Wayne County's on the upward trend. Coach Jabo Shaw's got that offense rolling over there. They are having to do it now without their young freshman quarterback, but I still think they will find a way to get it done against Islands on Friday night.
Yeah, back to rescheduling that Burke game. I don't know what went into that and why it got postponed. I don't know why they didn't play it earlier, or even Saturday or Monday of this week. But anyway, you're right. It's Tuesday, November the 1st. That's actually the last week of the regular season. That Friday, November the 4th, is the last slate of Friday night games. The week before, I believe Burke plays, I think, New Hampstead on a Thursday. Wayne County has a Friday night game, so it will be a quick turnaround for both teams from that standpoint. Wayne now is off, actually, the last week of the season, but Burke will have to turn right back around and play again that Friday night. So they're in there on both ends. Wayne, probably it's the same turnaround they would have had in a short week, had they moved that game up to like Wednesday or Thursday, like a lot of games got moved up. So from that standpoint, no big deal for them. And then, of course, they'll have the rest of that week off to hopefully get ready for the playoffs the following week. But they should have no problem, just like the Ware County Gators this week. Islands 0-6. I saw Brunswick just outmanned them here at Glenn County Stadium a couple of weeks ago. Wayne, of course, 4-1, still waiting on their first region game. But Islands has been outscored, Sean, 239-29. That ought to tell you a little something about their offensive punch, which they don't have a whole lot of. Wayne should win this one easy on Friday night.
Yeah, I look for Wayne to put another one in the W column. But that's going to wrap up the games for 10-7. Appreciate everyone watching On Air with 912 Sports. Hey, get out and see a high school football game this Friday night, we hope. And not a Wednesday and not a Thursday and not a Saturday and not a Monday, but this Friday night. And check out your local high school football in your area. But, hey, appreciate everybody watching. We're going to pay a few bills and come right back here with more On Air with 912 Sports right after these messages.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.